Welcome back to day 2. Today we're doing the law of cosine. And so the law of cosine is used when you have side, side, side given. If you have side, side, it's the included angle. So it's in the middle. Or side, angle, side. So 2 sides and the included side length. The included angle and 3 sides, and yes, on the screen. And side length. So that's when you use the law of cosine. Guys, here's one thing. These laws are not on the formula chart. You're going to have to learn them. Gonna have them memorized. Sine is easy. You just set up a proportion. Angle over side, angle over side. This one's slightly different, but the easiest way I remember this one is I only learned one law, and I just use the one that's easiest with Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to show you the three different laws, but they are different because it just depends on which angle's unknown. But I just say, okay, my unknown is going to be this C so that I can use the law of cosine with the one that's similar to Pythagorean theorem. So this law says you have a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared. Then you have b squared is equal to a squared plus c squared. And this is the one I use because we all know the Pythagorean theorem. I use c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. That's the first part to memorize. And all these just basically represent the unknown angle. But remember, we can make anything be the A, B, or C because this isn't a right triangle. In order to use law of cosine, it's acute or obtuse, not a right triangle. And so the second part says minus 2 times, so I'm going to put all the 2's, and you're taking this 2 and multiplying it by these side lengths. So this one will be B times C, not squared. This is going to be A times C. This one's going to be A times B. Got that part? And then remember, this is the law of cosine. And so since A is the unknown, we're going to do cosine of angle A. Side B is unknown, we're doing cosine of B. C is unknown, we use cosine of C. And this is why I say I only use this one for all of them. It just helped me because I already know A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Then I automatically know I'm going to do minus 2 times AB equals the cosine of C. And that's why you can use any one of them, but I use that one just because it makes it easier. So the triangle this basically matches up with is just saying if you have angle A, B, and C, A is across from small a, angle B is across from small b, and C is across from little c. So if A is the unknown, you do A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2 times BC cosine of angle A. Got it? All right, now let's look at some actual examples. So let's say I was given this triangle. I'm doing example 6 on your paper. This is 9. This is 43 degrees. This is 10 centimeters, and it wants us to find EF. First thing, look, we have a side, angle, side. Side, angle, side, law of cosine. Got it? Side, angle, side, law of cosine. Which are the ones we use most often? We always use side, 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 or side, angle, side. Those are the ones that's most often. So anytime you see side, 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 angle, side, I say, okay, law of cosine. You don't have to memorize the other ones. You just know if it's the other ones like angle, angle, side, angle, side, side, the ones that we rarely use, that's for the law of sine. So if you see side, 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 angle, side, law of cosine. And that'll help you remember when to use the law of cosine, and you know the law of sine will just be opposite. So if we use the law of cosine, I look at what's given. So I have, okay. So we look at what's unknown. So our unknown is EF. So that's going to be the one on the outside. It's kind of like that A squared. EF squared is equal to, what are we given? 9 squared plus 10 squared. Remember the equation is minus 2 times the A and B, 9 and 10. And then remember, this is the law of cosine, so we're going to take cosine, and our unknown was EF squared, so look across from it, and we have cosine 43
Madison,
degrees.
please report to the front office. Madison, please report to the front office.
So let's say you use Pythagorean theorem, when basically you have c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2 times ab. Cosine, our unknown, is across from 43 degrees. So solving all of this will get us to the unknown. I'm gonna need the calculator. Be very careful. Some people see this and say, okay, I'm gonna type it all in and get it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Be careful, because you need to figure out this and then subtract this minus that answer. So it's 2 sets. If you put it in the calculator, it's going to do PEMDAS, but you want to do this minus this. A squared plus B squared minus the negative 2AC. So if I do this part first, I have 9 squared plus 10 squared. And I get 181 minus, and then I'm going to do 2 times 9 times 10. And that's going to be 180 cosine 43 degrees. This is what PEMDAS will do. Sometimes it'll take this and do 181 minus 180 and give you 1. That's not it, because it's not saying 181 minus 90. You need to do these two first. 180 cosine of 43 degrees. They're bonded by multiplication. So 180 times the cosine of 43 degrees. And you end up with 181 minus 131.64366. Now you can subtract those two. And we end up with 49.35 something. That's what EF squared is equal to. And we know if we take the square root of that, it says round to the nearest tenth. We know square root of 49 is going to be 7 something. Put in the calculator, it's approximately 7.0. Because it's 0 too, but to the nearest tenth is really 7. And so that's our answer. And we're going to pause it. That's the law of cosine. That one's with side, angle, side. Now let's do one with side, side, side. So here I have a side, side, side. 6, 8, 7. This is W, X, and Y. And it wants us to find the angle measurement of X. So since X is unknown, it's across from 7. So that means that the 7 is going to be on the outside, because that's what paired up with the unknown. 7 squared equals 6 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times the AC. That's 6 and the 8 by itself, not squared. And then remember, this is cosine inverse. I'm going to put my inverse in there because I don't know the X degrees. Remember, X is across from the 7, so I'm doing cosine inverse because that's 7 on the outside. Got it? And this is side, 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 so that's how we knew we were supposed to use the law of cosine. 6 squared plus 8 squared is 100 is equal to 7 squared, which is 49. 2 times 6 times 8. So this is going to be minus 96 cosine inverse of X degrees. Do not subtract those two. Trying to get X by itself. Here's where it gets tricky. Best thing is bring this 100 to the other side. Subtract 100 on both sides. So we're doing 49 minus 100. Get negative 51 is equal to negative 96 cosine inverse of X degrees. Now these are bonded by multiplication, so we're going to divide it by negative 96 on both sides. And so now we're going to do cosine inverse of this. Negative 51 divided by negative 96, which is approximately 0.53125. And we're going to do the cosine inverse of that. Cosine inverse of this. And then the answer is X is approximately 58 degrees. And that's the law of cosine. If you need more problems, go to the PowerPoint and do those practice problems or rewind this. And that sums up the law of cosine.